Another Nintendo Indie Direct passes by, and news of the highly anticipated sequel to Hollow Knight remains as elusive as ever, but hope is on the horizon. I'm Technovoid, and I'm not going to be able to claim to guess a release window better than any of the other Hollow Knight YouTubers who have also succumbed to foot and mouth disease, but what I can do is use the timeline of Silksong news that we've had thus far to safely predict that more news is very close to the horizon at E3 2021. First, let's talk about Nintendo themselves. They've announced their plans to participate at the all-virtual conference this June, and we know that they have first dibs in the console industry at Silksong. Without a doubt, the game will come to other consoles down the road, but on release, it's just going to be PC and Switch, and that's a very nice market that Nintendo managed to corner, and they have shown every intention of taking advantage of it. The original Hollow Knight broke past 1 million purchases on June 11th of 2018, one day before releasing on the Switch. Within 2 weeks of that release, it had sold 250,000 copies on the system. In the 8 months between July 2018 and February 2019, when Silksong was announced, the original game's sales had more than doubled, from 1,250,000 to 2,800,000, almost a clean 3 million. It's quite clear that the Switch release was mutually beneficial for both Team Cherry and Nintendo, as the software's popularity skyrocketed after the Switch's release window. While I don't believe any public data exists for Switch downloads of the game between Silksong announcement and now, it would be fair to assume that the game's popularity has grown. Now, let's compare these numbers to the most recent Indie World's One More Thing stinger, Oxenfree 2. Oxenfree released roughly 1 year before Hollow Knight, in January of 2016, was released on the Switch in October of 2017, and hit 1 million purchases in July of 2018, roughly the same time as Hollow Knight. In March of 2019, about a month after Hollow Knight hit 2.8 million copies sold, Oxenfree announced that they had reached the 1.5 million benchmark. Now let me be clear, this is not me dissing on Oxenfree by any stretch of the imagination. I've heard amazing things about the game and it's high on my list of games to get to. But the difference in these numbers can't be ignored. Hollow Knight, in its time on Switch, became a phenomenon. Hollow Knight Silksong isn't going to drop information during an indie presentation, because to Nintendo, it's become a second-party game. As the original game continues to be enjoyed by more people and the hype for the sequel rises, Silksong has begun to dominate many a chat room and news cycle for indie releases. It is absolutely in the best interest of Nintendo to drop more news, whether or not Team Cherry has a release date or not, when they've got the most eyes on them. With Sony, EA, Blizzard, and several other big names still noticeably absent from the E3 2021 commitment list at this time, and last year's lack of a conference, Nintendo is in prime position to really start marketing this game hard if a 2021 or early 2022 release is at all probable. Unlike Among Us, which couldn't wait for an E3 presentation and had to be dropped while the game was still at peak popularity, and also wasn't a Switch exclusive, Silksong news arriving at a low-key presentation just isn't feasible. Next, let's talk about the pattern of Silksong news cycles. Silksong was officially revealed in February of 2019 and has had 5 major updates since. The first was in March of 2019, showing off a few new NPCs and a larger blog post about Hollow Knight in general. The second was in June of 2019, where Silksong was shown at Nintendo's E3 and made an appearance on Nintendo Treehouse, as well as the show floor with a demo. Following this, we had the December 2019 holiday sign-off, which showed off enemies 163 through 165. In June and early July of 2020, Leth posted riddles in the Hollow Knight Discord, which led to the reveals of 4 new characters. And finally, on December 31st, 2020, the Edge magazine with a Silksong cover story was released digitally as the February 2021 issue. Looking at these dates, we can make a few reasonable guesses. The original reveal occurred 1 day after a Nintendo Direct. When asked about this, Leth stated that they were simply not made aware of a Direct on that day and would have coordinated better had they known. Nintendo's official announcement of the game then came 4 months later, with the unfortunate "coming soon" wording from Nintendo and discussion during the Treehouse leading fans to believe the game was closer to completion than it really was. Despite this, Silksong's news drops have only occurred either in the summer or winter, in the June to July and December to February windows. While 4 instances may not make a reliable pattern, we can be relatively certain from Team Cherry's wording themselves that Silksong has been in some level of development for the past 4 years, during 2 of which it was the sole focus. Their lack of much communication has been due to them being hard at work on the game, so the collaboration with Edge may suggest that they've gotten to a comfortable point in the project to start gearing up marketing, something Nintendo is no doubt looking to do as well. The game won't get a release date until it's completely ready, with that final window being used for bug fixing, optimization, and marketing, so whether or not a release date will arrive during E3 is still hard to say. But given the cadence of the previous announcements, the slight uptick in pursuing news coverage, and Nintendo's very obvious vested interest in getting as many eyes on this game as possible, I would say that more information this June, in some capacity, is all but guaranteed. Hopefully I'm right, and we will all once again be sated for Silksong news in a few weeks. And because of how great that sounds, you should subscribe, unlike 98% of viewers. If you're back here after the fact to add me to the list of YouTubers who are wrong about Silksong news, then you should also subscribe to me. You know, just to spite me. Really add the insult to injury. Go on, click it. Either way, don't forget to remain patient, unentitled, and reasonable as time marches on, and take your mind off things by showing some other indie devs some love. Believe it or not, there are other amazing games out there, and playing them will make the wait easier. I've been Technovoid, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.